Yesterday we have studied that there are three different methods by which ceramic superconductors can be prepared. A thin film of ceramic superconductor that can be obtained. The methods that we have discussed yesterday, that is a chemical deposition method, second is a chemical vapor deposition method, and third is a electrical deposition method. Amongst all these three methods, the chemical vapor deposition method, or what we call CVD method, that is used. I would like to recall some points of interest from this method, that in electric devices, superconductors are normally used in the form of thin films. For this purpose, best suited method is a chemical vapor deposition method. The general procedure is to form the film by depositing the thermally unstable compound on the hot solid substrate, that is we have seen, that is uh, in this method the volatile complexes of copper, yttrium and barium are held at temperature T1, T2 and T3. Just see this diagram also. Here in this diagram, the first reactor which contains copper, the volatile complex of copper, then the second is this reactor vessel contains yttrium, and third contains barium, which are held at temperature T1, T2 and T3, that can provide the desired vapor pressure of each of the reactant. That is, we are preparing CuY, YBA2, Cu3O7. So O7 minus X, this is also referred as a ceramic 123 superconductor because of the proportion of the components yttrium, barium and copper in the proportion 1 to 3. So here I have shown the three reactors which contains the volatile complexes of copper, yttrium and barium in all these three reactors. The reactants are then swept on the reaction chamber. See this is a reaction chamber where this is a wedge-shaped block is kept, where when the copper, yttrium and barium are swept by using a carrier gas which contains inert gas such as argon, oxygen and water vapor. And here these three volatile complexes of copper, yttrium and barium are swept on to this wedge-shaped block. When conditions are properly maintained, the desired YBA2CU3O7 minus X, this film is deposited on this wedge-shaped block which is preheated by using this infrared lamp, and after deposition, the film may be amorphous. To obtain a desired crystallinity, this film is properly annealed to a temperature to get a desired crystallinity of the film. So this is how the YBA2CU3O7 minus X that can be synthesized. Now with regard to the structure, if we look at the structure, then see this structure. How can we draw the structure for this YBA2CU3O7 minus X? See this structure. I am drawing the structure for the proper understanding of the structure for this YBA2CU3O7 minus X, because this, how to draw this structure, that is also very important. So as to make you familiar with the structure, I am drawing this structure for the sake of you. See this structure I am drawing. Now how to draw this structure? The structure of this Y Ba2 Cu3O7 minus X, because there are oxygen atoms are missing from the crystal lattice, and hence 7 minus X I have written. First of all, you have to draw a perfect cube like this. This is a cube. This is cube number 1. Here, the first cube, which contains the copper atom, oxygen atom, that I would like to show here, that the first cube, which contains this copper atom at the corner. So this is a copper atom at the corner. Then at the center of this cube, barium atom is present, that is center of the body, and the oxygen atoms are present at these corners. So this is first oxygen atom, this is second oxygen atom, and this is third oxygen atom. So this is the cube number 1, which contains the atoms. Copper is here, then at the center barium is there, and 3 oxygen atoms are there. So CuBaO3. So if we elaborate this particular structure, because the structure is somewhat compared with peroxide structure, which is nothing but CaTiO3, that is calcium titanate, the same structure that is exhibited by this ceramic superconductor. Now there are 3 cubes which are stacked one above the other like this. This is the cube number 2. Here I would like to mention here, this is the cube number 2. Now the second cube, this second cube is having copper at this corner. Here copper is present. Then at the center, yttrium is present. So this is yttrium which is present at the center, and again this is surrounded by the oxygen atoms, first oxygen atom, second oxygen atom, and the third oxygen atom. So we have written here that CuBaO3, on similar grounds we can write this as Cu, copper is present, yttrium is also present, and 3 oxygen atoms are present. So second cube, which contains copper and yttrium at the center, which is surrounded by 3 oxygen atoms. Now the third cube that I would like to show here, which can be drawn like this. I am drawing this structure for this ceramic superconductor that will enable you to draw the structure during your exam time. Now at the center again barium is present, barium is at the center, while the copper atom that is present at this corner, and remaining are the oxygen atoms. So these are, this is first oxygen atom, second oxygen atom, and this is third oxygen atom. So this can be written as like this. This is CuBaO3. So this is how we can show the structure for this ceramic superconductor, which is having 3 cubes. You have to write 3 cubes which are stacked one above the other. Another point is that the structure of ceramic superconductor closely resembles with the structure of peroxide structure, which is nothing but the calcium titanate, CaTiO3. Same type of structure, that is elongated structure, is exhibited where three cubes are stacked one above the other. So this is third cube, and this structure is somewhat regarded as a tetragonal structure. Now, what is the peculiarity? There are three cubes are there which are stacked one above the other. The peculiarity of this structure is that two barium atoms which are present, two barium atoms having oxidation state +2, which are present on at the center of first and third cube, which I have shown here. This is third cube which contains barium, and this is the first cube which also contains the barium here. That means as barium ions, those are present at the center of the body. Barium ions are present at the center of the body, hence it is known as body centered cubic barium ions. As barium ion that is present at the center of the body, hence it is known as a body centered barium ion. Now come to this yttrium. The second cube which is having yttrium, which is in +3 oxidation state, this which is present at the center of the second cube, which is again present at the center. So yttrium position of which is also the body centered cubic structure for the yttrium. So the position of this yttrium is also at the center of the body, which is surrounded by copper and oxygen atoms. And now come to the third component, that is copper in +2 oxidation state. Here copper is present in the first cube, in the second cube, and in the third cube. So copper is present at the corners of the first, second, and third cube. So this is how we can give the position for all the constituent ions, that is copper, barium, yttrium, and oxygen. Now here, why this tetragonal structure of YBa2Cu3O7-X, which is regarded as 1, 2, 3 ceramic superconductor? Because the proportion of yttrium is 1, that of barium is 2, and that of copper is 3. Hence it is known as a ceramic 1, 2, 3 ceramic superconductor. Now here, why this structure that act as a superconductor? Because superconducting materials are nothing but they can conduct the electricity, huge electricity, without any losses, that we call as a without any resistance. While writing the explanation for this ceramic type of superconductors, that you have to write particularly, I am making an asterisk sign, that in this case copper is having the oxidation state as a fractional oxidation state of 2.33. Till now we have observed that every metallic element is having a particular oxidation state, either +1, +2, +3 and so on, or -1, -2, -3 and so on. But this is the only case where we can find that copper is having +2.33 oxidation state. How this is? Just I would like to show you by calculating the oxidation state of copper, which is as +3. Here I shall again write the formula for this YBa2Cu3O7-X. Here in this case our aim is to calculate the oxidation state of copper, hence we can represent this as X. 3 copper atoms are there, multiplied by 3, plus barium atoms are 2 in number. The oxidation state of barium is +2, hence 2 multiplied by 2, plus here yttrium is there. Yttrium is having +3 oxidation state, and oxygen is having always -2 oxidation state in all of its stable compounds. So for every oxygen it is a -2, and 7 oxygen atoms are present, hence we can write this as 7. So this is a copper, this is a barium, and this is yttrium, and this is oxygen. Now our aim is to calculate the oxidation state of copper in this case, because of which this semiconductor ensures the superconductivity. Now, if we try to solve this particular, then here we can write this as 3x. 2 multiplied by 2 is 4, plus 3 is that means 7, and 7 multiplied by 2 is 14, that means minus 14. So this is 3x plus 7 minus 14. Therefore x is equal to 7 upon 3, and if we solve this particular numerator divided by denominator, this value comes to be 2.33, which is a oxidation state, that is a variable oxidation state for copper, and this is a characteristic feature because of which these superconductors, these materials, they can act as the superconductors. So in this case we have seen how the structure exhibits a tetragonal structure, and you have to mention particularly that copper is having a plus 2.33 as a variable oxidation state, because of which the semiconducting property that is observed. So this is all about the structure and the preparation, that is CVD method for the preparation of ceramic superconductors. Now we are going to switch over to the applications of these ceramic superconductors. See the I have some slides where I would like to show you the applications of ceramic superconductors. See these slides. The diagram that I have already shown you, this is a three blocks which are present, which are stacked one above the other. Barium is at the top and at the bottom. So first and third cube contains barium ions. The central place cube contains yttrium, and here copper first, this is copper second, and this is copper third, and all these positions, those are occupied by the oxygen. So if we add up all these CuBaO3 plus CuYO3 plus CuBaO3, that comes to be YBa2 Cu3O7 minus X. So the applications of ceramic superconductors, here if we see the applications of ceramic superconductors, then yesterday we have seen the ceramic superconductors are nothing but a superconductor is a very pure metal an alloy or a compound that allows electricity to be transmitted with minimal losses. So there is no loss as such. A higher current flow may occur with lower energy losses than the common conductors, because yesterday I have discussed that there are about 20% losses are observed during the transmission of electricity from one end to another. Many elements can be coaxed into a superconductive state with the application of high pressure. Here are again some applications. It is showing that only 10 minutes are remaining. Here I have enlisted the uses applications of these superconductors in different fields. Particle accelerators, where these superconductors may be used, certain generators, transportation, power transmission, electric motors, certain military devices, they are also using these superconductors for computing, for medical research, and in the field of squids. It is nothing but a specially designed technique which is known as a squid. I'll discuss later on this is in more details. Here this is nothing but in magnetic levitation. The magnetic levitation is based in two techniques. First technique is known as the EMS, which is known as electromagnetic suspension. This is a technique upon which the fast moving bullet trains are nowadays working in Japan, China. I am having the video also. I will show you later on the videos of which the bullet trains which runs on a very high speed. And second is a electrodynamic suspension. This technique is also used in certain industries. Here, this slide shows that in magnetic levitation, there is no friction or no resisting force. In attractive electromagnetic suspension, the electromagnetic magnets are installed on the train bogie which attract the iron rails. The vehicle magnet wrapped on the iron nails and the attractive upward force lift the train. That means the trains are not running on the railroads, but those are raised somewhat from the railroads, and because of which these are the frictionless. In EDS technical type of techniques, the levitation is achieved by creating a repulsive force between the train and the iron rails. And thirdly, a similar magnetic propul- propulsion system is being used to launch the satellite into the orbits directly from the earth without the use of rockets, because the rockets they can carry the satellite from earth into the space. So this technique is also used by using superconductors. One can send the satellite in the space. Now here, this is a diagrammatic picture of the bullet train. What in China and Japan they call this as a maglev trains have been under the development in Japan for the last 2 decades. Superconducting magnets are used to create a strong magnetic force to propel a vehicle, but they offer more than just the propulsion. They also levitate the vehicles and guide them within the bounds of the guideway. The system takes advantage of the naturally stabilizing effect provided by the electromagnetic induction. No controlling devices whatsoever are needed to keep the train on its guideway, and there is no risk of the train derailing. That means we have seen that sometimes we uh, observe that there is a derailing of the trains, but because of this superconducting materials that is used in maglev trains, they keep the bogies on the track, so derailing is avoided. The magnetic levitation force is the ideal for supporting a train at very high speeds. So even though a very high speed that is observed, the train bogies will not be derailed. Another application of superconductors here is that perhaps you might have heard about the MRI techniques, where high resolution magnets are used. So these magnets are used, which are of again superconducting material. So magnetic resonance imaging, MRI means magnetic resonance imaging technique, that allows doctors to see what happening inside the body without directly performing surgery. So before the patient is advised for a surgery, the doctors ask the patient to go through the MRI technique, and then they will come to know where there is surgery is to be done. The development of superconductors has improved the field of MRI, as the superconducting magnet can be smaller and more efficient than equivalent conventional magnet. Very small magnets are used, which are based on the superconducting property. The radio frequency receives that the currently made of copper coils can be replaced by superconducting receiver coils, increasing the signal to noise ratio by a factor of 2 in more cases. So this is again the field of medical where these superconducting materials are used. Here again there are certain medical fields where the superconducting materials are used, that is magnetic resonance tomography, then biomagnetic measurements, the squid magnetometer, the magnetocephalography MEG systems, magnetocardiography MCG device, magnetoneurography, gastroenterology, magnetopneumography, and liver iron suspectometry. So these are again the fields where the superconducting materials are used. That means it is very much useful in the medical fields also. Here again, this slides tells us that how the superconducting materials are used in medical fields. In addition to this, the advanced static and functional imaging techniques using superconducting sensors are emerging as the complementary methods, enabling the additional capabilities as well as the lower cost. So if there is brain damage is there, that can be detected by using these superconducting sensors also. Now in this case, the magnetic sensing, I have mentioned the squid technique which is used here. Compared with the rest of the body's low current operation, the heart is a highly electric organ. Its faint magnetic field, which is mentioned as 100 picoteslas, it can be measured with the help of squid technique. It is nothing but superconducting quantum interference devices. It is known as a squid technique. The most sensitive magnetic sensors which are known when arranged in arrays. Here they are arranged in the arrays. Here one magnet is kept and here one more is there and here one more is there. When arranged in squids can provide the image of heart's magnetic field and yield clues to abnormal conduction patterns that are the basics of some heart arrhythmia. That means abnormal functioning can be detected by using this technique. About 3 million persons are treated for this by using this particular technique also. Now, one more field is there, that is in industry. In industry, superconductors also play a very important role. New applications of superconductors will also provide the critical temperature. Liquid nitrogen, which is very cool gas based on superconductor, has provided industry more flexibility to utilize superconductivity as compared to liquid helium superconductors. Because as we know, liquid nitrogen is very cool gas and liquid helium is also cool gas. But if we calculate the cost of the liquid nitrogen and liquid helium, then liquid nitrogen is comparatively cheap as compared to helium. So nowadays in industry, liquid nitrogen is used so as to create the lower temperatures for the efficient working of superconductors. The work of commercialization centers on the development of new products and the in engineering needed to implement the new technology. So this is again the new technologies which may be adopted by using these superconductors. Electric generators, which here shown, in the early days, the size of generators was very big, but by the use of these superconductors, the size of these generators are reduced. Their efficiency is also increased, that is about 99%. Superconducting fault limiters can also respond within a few milliseconds to limit thousands of amperes of current, such as after a lightning strike. So here, in all these electric devices, the superconducting materials are used. This is again some other general applications of super